Hello students, welcome to AriserTalent. Today we are going to start a very important chapter, that is control and coordination. Okay, so what do you understand by control here? Control means it's a process, okay, or I must say it is a power of restraint and regulation by which a process can be, either it can be started, or once it's started it can be slowed down, or it can be stopped. Okay, so meaning of control here is, control means, control means control means the power of restraint and regulation by which a process can be started, okay, slowed down, or stopped. Okay, so this is the meaning of control. Now coordination means working together. Okay, so here coordination means working together of different but interrelated parts, means organs of the body, to perform a particular, or I must say to perform one or more activities, to perform one or more activities okay, together only, as they are performing means one or more parts. When they work together to perform one or more activities very smoothly, then this is known as coordination. Activities smoothly. Okay, so this was the meaning of these words. So in this chapter, what we are going to study? We are going to study about the control, that how the different activities, how the different processes are being controlled by the different organs. Now another thing is how the different organs which are related to each other in any way, okay, they work together to perform one or two activities smoothly. So in this chapter we are going to talk about these things. Clear? Now next we will talk about what, that as I told you that they show the coordination, like parts of the body show the coordination, and this we can say then they show two modes of coordination. Okay, I must mention here coordination. There are two modes of control and coordination. Control and coordination have two modes. What are they? One is chemical mode, and another is nervous. It means the control of different activities and the coordination of different organs to perform some activity is done by two ways. One is chemical and another is nervous mode. If we talk about chemical mode, so generally chemical mode is shown by the plants only. Okay, this is generally shown by the plants. And if we talk about nervous mode, so nervous mode is generally shown by the animals. But one more thing is that animals show both modes. Okay, they show both type of modes. So we can say that the animals can show both type of modes, chemical as well as nervous. For example, animals. Okay, then other thing is that, as I told you, that animals show both type of control and coordination. One is chemical mode and another is nervous control and coordination mode. So one more thing is that in animals, if we talk about animals, okay, then generally they are differentiated into two parts. What are they? One is unicellular and another is multicellular. Then unicellular, like amoeba, okay, unicellular organisms, or I must say unicellular animals, show what? They show different type of mode, they show different type of control and coordination when they respond to a stimuli. Okay, so this response is known as taxis. But when they receive a stimuli and move towards the stimulus, then it is known as positive taxis. And once these unicellular animals move away from the stimulus, that is known as negative taxis. Okay, so here I must mention that animals show both chemical and nervous mode. Okay, so they are of two types: unicellular animals and multicellular animals. Okay, as I told you that in unicellular animals, they show the response to the stimulus, and that response is known as what? That response is known as taxis. Response towards the stimuli is known as what? It is known as taxis. Okay, when the unicellular organism or unicellular animal move towards the stimulus, when the unicellular organism moves towards the stimulus, then it is known as what? It is known as positive taxis. Then it is known as positive taxis. Okay, and when the unicellular or animal moves away from the stimulus, then it is known as negative taxis. Okay, then it is known as negative taxis. Okay, so we can say that the unicellular animals show two types of movement. But as we talk about multicellular organism or multicellular animals, then they show both chemical as well as what? Nervous mode. Okay, so here I must mention they show both chemical and nervous. Okay, so in the multicellular animals, generally chemical response or I must say chemical control and coordination is shown by the endocrine system. It is known as endocrine system. Okay, and when they show nervous control and coordination, then it is known as nervous system. Clear? So the thing is that control and coordination is of two type, chemical and nervous, but in animals they show both kind of control and coordination. There is a variation in the unicellular animals, they show control and coordination in this way that when they move towards the stimulus, then it is known as positive taxis, but when they move away from the stimulus, that is known as negative taxis. Okay. Now multicellular animals show both kind of control and coordination, one is chemical and another is nervous. So chemical control and coordination in the multicellular organisms or multicellular animals is known as endocrine system. Okay, this is known as endocrine system, and when they show nervous control, then it is known as nervous system. What are they? Let me explain you. Number one is endocrine system. Endocrine system means it consists of what? It consists chemical secreting glands, they are known as endocrine glands. They consist specialized glands, and they are known as what? They are known as endocrine glands. Clear? These endocrine glands release some chemicals that is known as hormone. Okay, these glands release some chemicals known as hormones. Clear? Next is nervous system. In the nervous system, what happens? In the nervous system, it consists of nerve cells known as neuron. Okay, it consists of special nerve cells called neurons. Okay, so what happens when these neurons receive some stimulation, then they pass it to the next neuron, and thus in this way they pass the message from one neuron to another, and then they send it to central nervous system. Then action is taken from there. Fine. So here I must say, as we studied about the control and coordination, what is the meaning of control and coordination, and what kind of control and coordinations are shown by the plants and animals. Now we will talk about the nervous system. We will talk about nervous system. What is nervous system? As I told you that nervous system consists nerve cells. These are known as neurons. Now we will talk about the structure of these neurons. Now next we are going to talk about nervous system. Okay. Nervous system. As I told you that nervous system is made up of special cells. These are known as nerve cells or neurons. So I must mention here that nervous system consists of nerve cells which are known as neurons. Okay. These nerve cells are the structural and functional unit. These nerve cells are the structural and functional unit. These nerve cells are structural and functional unit of nervous system. Why it is so? Because these nerve cells, what they do, they receive stimuli and then they forward the response, they forward the stimulation and then the response is done. Okay. Structural and functional unit of nervous system. Okay. Generally nerve cells or neuron has three parts. Nerve cells, it has three parts. What are they? Cell body, dendrite and axon. Okay, these are the main three parts of a nerve cell, dendrites and axon. Yes, we can see the structure of a neuron here. Let me explain you. As I told you that a neuron has three main parts. What are they? Cell body. Here I mentioned cell body. So, this is cell body which is also known as cyton. Okay, then dendrites which are originated from the cell body only. These are dendrites and what is the main function of these dendrites is that they receive signals from other cells. Okay, then they pass it to cell body and then these are this stimulation pass from the axon and goes to the axon terminal. Now the third part of the neuron is axon. What is the structure of axon? Generally axon is the longest part of the nerve cell. Okay, and here we can see that generally it is covered by a membrane which is known as Schwann cell or I must say that it has a membrane or lemma and then it is known as Schwann cell. This Schwann cell produces some chemicals and it forms myelin sheath. Okay, this is the myelin sheath. Here we can see. So, function of this myelin sheath is what? The function of myelin sheath is to increase the speed of the signal. Fine. Then when it goes long, then at the end it forms some terminals. These terminals are known as axon terminals. Now let me explain you. First of all, as I told you that it has three parts. One is cell body. So let me explain about the cell body. Generally the cell body is, here we can see generally it is oval or spherical in shape. Then it contains a cytoplasm. Okay, it contains this liquid is known as cytoplasm. In the cytoplasm, it contains mitochondria. Generally, this mitochondria generates energy for the cell. Okay, as well as it contains Golgi apparatus, neurofibrils and neurotubules. Okay, then in the center, it has a big nucleus. Now, what is the function of this nucleus? The function of this nucleus is controls. This nucleus controls the entire neuron. Okay, this nucleus controls the entire neuron. Fine. Okay, now what is the function of this cell body? It organizes and keep the cell functional. Fine. Next, as I told you that dendrites originate from the cell body. Now what happens? They receive the signals, means they receive the stimulation and they pass it to the different part of the neuron. They pass it to the cell body, then cell body, from cell body it is passed to the axon. Fine. So this is the function of dendrite. One more thing, that cell body also contains some granular structures. They are known as Nissl granules. These Nissl granules are the center for protein synthesis. This is the important thing. But if we talk about these dendrites, so they do not have any Nissl granule. And if we talk about this axon part, this axon parts also originate from the cell body only, and this is the longest part of the neuron. It does not contain any nasal granule. Fine. It also contains some cytoplasm, but it does not contain nasal granule. Fine. So, what is the function of this axon? It transfers signals to the other cells and organs. How? We can see this is the longest part. So, whatever signal means stimulation is passed from dendrites to cell body, then it is passed from cell body to the axon. As I told you, axon ends in the axon terminal. Fine. So, this axon passes the signal or transfers the signal to the axon terminal, and then these axon terminal, by the process of synapse, they pass it to the other neuron. Okay, I'll explain you all the process in detail in my I will explain all the details of synapses further on. Okay, now this is the all about the structure of neuron. So let's write. First is cell body. Number one part is cell body. Okay, it's also known as cyton or soma. It is spherical, it is round or spherical, okay, in shape. It contains cytoplasm in which a large nucleus is present. Okay, the function of nucleus is that it controls the entire neuron. Next, in cytoplasm, mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, neurofibrils, neurotubules, and Nissls granules are present. Okay. Nissl granule, as I told you that Nissl granules are present. So, what is the function of this Nissl granule? These Nissl granules synthesize protein, okay, or we must say Nissl granules are the center of protein synthesis. Let me mention Nissl granules are the center of protein synthesis. Okay. Then I told you that it has mitochondria and cytoplasm. So, this mitochondria generates energy. Okay. So, this is all about the cell body. Next, we will talk about what? Dendrites or dendrons. Single, it is known as dendron. When they branch, they are known as dendrites. These are the small structures, and when they are branched, they are known as dendrites. Next is dendron. It is small. Dendron is generally singular form. Okay, so it is small and branched. These branches are known as, these branches are called dendrites. Okay. As I told you that the function of these dendrites is what? They receive the signals and then they transfer it to the cell body. Okay. Function is they receive stimulation or stimuli and transfer them to cell body. Fine. So this is all about the dendron. Next is axon. This is the longest part of the neuron. It is the longest part. It is the longest part of nerve cell. Okay, generally it contains cytoplasm. Okay, and the cytoplasm of axon does not have nasal grains. It contains cytoplasm. It contains cytoplasm, but it lacks nasal granules. Okay, nasal granules are absent here, so thus they cannot synthesize protein. Clear? So axon cannot synthesize protein. Next is, generally it originates from the cell body and goes and ends with the axon terminal. Axon originates from cell body and ends at axon terminals. Okay. As I told you that it has a layer, or we say it has a membrane, that is known as Schwann cell, and this Schwann cells releases some chemicals and produces myelin sheath. Here we can see myelin sheath. This is very important, that this myelin sheath increases the speed of the signal. Fine. What happens in some animals, if the those have this myelin sheath, they are known as myelinated, okay, membrane. They have myelinated membrane, and those animals, they do not have this myelin sheath, they are known as non-myelinated animals. Okay, now what happens when animals, those have this myelin sheath, they have the good speed of transfer of signals, but those animals, those do not have this myelin sheath, they lack the good speed of transfer of impulses or stimulation. Okay, so this was all about the structure of a neuron. Hope you all understood it. Thank you.